Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. When Air India flight AI171 it went down, the world expected swift answers. They expected facts, clarity, and accountability. The preliminary report did come out in exactly a month from this accident. It revealed some of the vital information as well. But after this report came out, instead what followed was a fog of conflicting reports by some outlets. There were vague statements that were made. There was speculation. Now, as investigators, they sift through data and passengers' families search for the truth. A troubling pattern has emerged. The very systems that are meant to bring clarity in the aftermath of an aviation disaster, it seems to be sowing more confusion. Is it a failure of communication? Is it a symptom of deeper systemic issues or something more deliberate? Well, in a time when transparency should be non-negotiable, the reports on AI171 crash are raising more questions than they answer. Listen in to what Muralidhar Mohol, the Union Minister, had to say.
मुझे लगता है कि फॉरेन जो मीडिया है, हाँ, फॉरेन मीडिया कुछ जो कर रहे हैं उस पर ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है। हमारे सामने हमारा रिपोर्ट है, एआईबी ने निष्पक्ष रूप से उसकी जांच की है। रिपोर्ट हमारे सामने है। उन्होंने कितनी बार कहा है और हमने भी कहा है कि ये प्राइमरी रिपोर्ट है। ये प्राइमरी रिपोर्ट होने के बावजूद भी मुझे लगता है कि ऐसे कोई निष्कर्ष ना निकाले कोई।
I'm currently joined by Captain Sam Thomas, the President of Airline Pilots Association of India. I will also be joined in just a short while from now with Captain Ehsan Khalid, the commercial pilot and civil aviation expert. He will be joining us in just a short while from now. Captain Sam Thomas, the Pilots Association of India, it has raised concerns about how pilot error is being suggested by some of these media reports. What specific parts of the report do you believe are misleading or unjustified?
Good evening. First of all, the Airline Pilots Association of India has been raising the fundamental question that with speculation, you will always get to the wrong answer, invariably. Now, what is supposed to remove the speculation is the primary or preliminary report that is given so that it can allay the fears of people and also the public at large that everything is going on in the correct direction. Having been here for about 30 years in this industry, we know that the Indian investigators somehow seem to not get their act together. And this report is nothing but a confirmation of that. So we had raised our objections on that, and the AAIB has recognized it and have taken steps to do a better job. Our request is that subject matter experts be included in order to get to the bottom of this. Now, what we are disappointed about is the leakage of information.
Yeah.
How come the Indian journalists, the Indian pilots, the Indian public at large are not privy to anything, and the US media or the Western media seem to have more knowledge and inside information, which is what we are objecting to. What that has done, we are okay with the media speculating, no problem. But we are objecting to the loose statements made by Indian pilots that has resulted in assumption that there is a murder-suicide done by the pilot in command. That is our strongest objection, and we seem to have lost the plot as far as the investigation is concerned. Now we, as Indian pilots, are going around negating our colleagues, senior colleagues, and are negating the efforts of the Western media. So we've lost focus on what we needed. What we initially asked is a transparent investigation and investigation involving experts.
Captain Thomas, just wanted to clarify that we here on NDTV have made sure that there are no speculations around this particular report. What has happened, whatever has happened, will come out in the full report that will come out later. Having said that, in your experience, Captain Thomas, how often are pilots prematurely blamed in aviation incident reports before the full data is analyzed?
in my experience, 100% of the time. 100% of the time, if not more. Now, if you go by the history, in the recent history, and that would be the MAX crashes. You all are privy to that and what has happened. Now, to quote our next guest, that's Captain Ehsan Khalid, he had brought out the case of the rudder reversals on the 737. I'm very familiar with that. Each of those cases were blamed on pilots. And it's not specific to India. It's world over. And Captain Khalid had brought out that particular case very interestingly at a time when the overwhelming narrative that is being set is that the pilots are at fault, and we have no objection to that. Please let me underline that if pilot error is the cause of this accident, it won't be the first time that pilot error is coming as the cause of the accident. But what we are saying is, give us substantial proof.
True.
And don't jump to conclusion. The media can. The normal people can. But the pilots and the investigation agencies cannot. And therefore, please stick to the professionalism. And now with the leak, we dare say that this EFR is not decoded in India. I strongly believe that despite telling us that it's in India and that lovely 9 crore, the lab that you've made in Delhi, this appears to have been done, and I have credible information. I do not have substantial proof, but however, I would put it to you that this is not decoded in India.
Okay. We also have Captain Ehsan Khalid who's joining us. Captain Khalid, what do you make of all these reports about the Air India 171 crash so far? Do you think they are aligned with the standard investigative protocols?
Not at all. First of all, thank you, Captain Sam and Osama, for inviting me here. I would like to throw in a new mathematical calculation that debunks all the story that has been rotating around. Okay, Captain Sam, at time stamp of 42 seconds, the fuel switches transition within 1 second from run to cutoff. Am I right?
Yeah.
So if I divide
within the first
it
3 seconds, yes.
Right. No, first 3 seconds it was okay. At time stamp 42 to 43, that means within 1 second, someone fastest finger in the cockpit could put both the switches out in just 500 milliseconds. So in 1 second, both of them are out.
That is a very fair point that you have raised. Yes.
Right. Then the narrative is that the other pilot who was rotating the aircraft happened to see this and asked, why did you switch off or cut off the engine? Agreed. He saw it. If this be the truth, then I think the proposer of this story has to now tell why did that person wait for 10 seconds to reverse this switch?
True.
Correct. Very correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Assume that person he asked the question and he said, I didn't do it. And both of them thought of climbing without the engine for 10 seconds. Let's assume it. Thereafter, it is nobody's case, even by the toughest case in Western media, that both pilots were trying to kill themselves. It is nobody's case. There was one pilot who was trying to kill, assume it. The other pilot was trying to live. Then I think he should be as fast as the first one in putting it on at the time second of 52 stamp. Right? Even if he took 10 seconds. But how does he go on to put it down? Put it to run position at 52 and then next one at 56. So 4-second gap in putting it on in an aircraft that is dying, and the pilot, both of them know that they are being dead if they don't do it fast. If at all, it was at time stamp 52 that it should have been in milliseconds, and at previously it should have been in any way. So now we come back to what, these things are in our head. It is boggling everyone down. Okay, in the night I sat down and I just tried to pick up a pen up and down, up and down. You can do it right now. Okay, just grip anything, put it to by 1 inch up, put it down and ungrip it. This time, if you are very good, you will take at least 1 second plus. That means if you do it 10 times, you will have 10 seconds. If you do 20 times, you will have 20 seconds. I tried doing it many times and I found that, I was pretty slow. I could just move, I could just grip and ungrip 1 second per movement. This guy was 4 times faster in switching off and 8 times slower in switching on. Now I will tell you what actually happened. and that would explain this timing. I hope now the timer stamp is not changed. Okay, that electrical signal switched off the fuel switch at that instant. That means 500 or 1 millisecond. The switch was at that same point. Sam would agree that pilot flying or pilot not flying nobody will look at the switches. But the CAS message will come and that will say fuel shut off. When you see fuel shut off, it is logical to ask, why did you switch off? Right? And it is logical to say, I didn't switch off. And then they took 10 seconds time to find out what the hell has happened in the cockpit. From 42 to 52, which by all standards is very, very nice, very, very professionally diagnosed that this is what could have happened or not happened. In fact, they are not saying what has happened. What they did was they went around to do a dual engine failure checklist, which now everybody knows. Even Chaiwala knows now what is dual engine failure memory items, right? So they went on to move the switch from run to cutoff. And Sam, if I was from the Air Force time, like a fighter pilot is to pull the ejection seat handle. It is like, one would hesitate. But anyway, one has to do it. Parallel to that, in a commercial aircraft is run to cutoff.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Captain Khalid, having...
Osama.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Run to cutoff is a parallel to that. But cutoff to run, you don't have to think. Just put both of them on. So definitely the switch was not at the off position. Otherwise, they would have had to move only one switch, one movement. But run to cutoff, and they did it deliberately. Why? Because they did it for the one engine, left engine, run to cutoff, and then that one on, and then this one off, and this one, the second one on. Okay, and they hope like hell that, everything will start. Now, this particular 4 seconds of moving it to on is now, it will not, DFDR will not record it from run to cutoff because it was already electrical zero at 42. If it was electrical zero, the only thing that you will record will be cutoff to run in case it initiated. Now, this is my presumption that they did it. It is a very much possibility that the electronic glitch was over in 10 seconds and it restarted on its own. The switches were never moved.
Yeah. Captain
I
Thomas.
am done.
Yeah, Captain Thomas, it's a great point that Captain Khalid has made here. What I also want to understand from you is, do you believe there is a systemic tendency in the industry to scapegoat pilots in high-profile crashes? And if so, why?
Not just high-profile cases. Any case, the first thing that happens is, before you know, there is a manufacturer down here, there is the country of the manufacturer that comes here, irrespective of who the OEM is. And there is an ease to putting a pilot on the list of guilty people because it is so much more easier. The moment you put that pilot error, the whole thing is closed and the insurance can be paid, the damages can be paid, everybody go home. Now, if you notice the Max crash, it was a pilot error. They fully claim with all confidence. Now, if you see the movie Sully, those who are interested in this must see the movie Sully of Tom Hanks. It'll show you very clearly, had that pilot not been alive, they would have nailed him with that. Unfortunately for them, he was alive. And since it's a civilized society, they allowed the unions to come in and defend him. Like every Even in our own country, a criminal like Kasab was given a defense. But unfortunately, our pilots are not given that defense. Not just in this case, in every incident that happens. Therefore, as to your question, is there a practice to put the pilots under the bus? 100%. And they do it for their benefit, but it's our duty to make sure that the truth prevails. Again, we are not averse to pilot error, final decision, but show us substantial proof and don't go by hearsay or alleged personality of the pilot or somebody's word to influence the investigation outcome. And now that you have set a narrative, now no matter what I say or what Captain Khalid says, what Captain Khalid said, I want to put on record that that is our analysis as well, and it's closest to the truth. We won't know until we get the complete data, but I think that's very, very close to the truth. Unfortunately, you want to go down the line of taking the pilot error theory, and I don't think as long as we are there as a union or as an association representative, we will let you do that. We will fight tooth and nail. We will go any distance to make sure that justice prevails. We may be delayed, but we'll do it.
True. Captain Khalid, having said that,
Yes.
do you believe that media speculation and early leaks they have hurt the integrity of the investigative process?
I agree to that. And I have something more to add, and Captain Sam Thomas, and you can take it on from there onwards.
Yeah.
And I am now, all of us know that TCMA can switch off both the engines without pilot's intervention. Any doubt about it? Osama, you know it, right? Osama and Osaka looks very close. But in Osaka, the aircraft switched off on its own. Okay, now I'm going to refer to an FAA directive that is AD that is talking to the Boeing company, and it is dated October 23, 2024. And I will paraphrase it and not give you the entire thing because you can find it out. It says that the Boeing company model 787-8, 9, 10 airplanes, the AD was prompted by incidents related to erroneous auto throttle behavior. Okay, potential erroneous readings from low-range altimeter, possible deficiencies in low airspeed protection, crew alerting system. The AD requires updating thrust management and display to the crew alerting system. FAA is issuing this AD to address the unsafe condition of these products. These products are thrust management and flight management. And you know what? When you go into it, there is a paragraph E that says unsafe condition. And they say the unsafe condition, if not addressed, could result in possible runway overrun or controlled flight into terrain. Okay, I can go on and on. But the thing is that we also now know that Boeing and FAA were talking about an unsafe condition of the auto throttle and the thrust management system in air, not in 2018 or 2019, but in 2023 and 24. And this is, I will say again, and then you can go ahead. It is an AD effective 2024. And I will also share the link with whosoever is there. One of the conclusion is FAA has concluded that the occurrence of any uncommanded thrust failure condition or any associated casual failures listed within Boeing documents so and so may endanger the safety of so and so. So it is not, this particular AIB should have someone who can go through the software. Where is the software glitch? Do we have anyone who can read software in this, or has AIB even called for the software code, source code to look into it? What is the problem?
Maybe that is still being assessed, and like I said, the full report is yet to come out. Maybe that question might be answered in that full report. But Captain Thomas, your final comments before we wrap this.
I can't put it any better than what Captain Khalid has put. It is just, I'd like to add to the point that now that we are all talking of different systems, I will say something in the morning, in the evening, somebody will teach me that same thing. So I'm today going to say that there's something called an ELT, Emergency Locator Transmitter. It activates at 3.2 to 3.5 G. 100G impact has happened. Has anybody seen the ELT work? Does it work? Does it have one? What has happened? That's the next thing that is going to come out. And I don't know why the preliminary report, every preliminary report sort of says that ELT got activated at this time, and that's how the event is concluded. So I don't know what happened to that. As far as the definition of what happened with the incident or the accident, Captain Khalid has put it way better than anybody could have done, and I'm completely in that support of that.
All right, Captain Thomas and Captain Khalid, thank you very much for speaking with NDTV, and especially Captain Khalid for breaking it down for us. And this is something that a lot of people should see and listen to before making those assumptions and before speculating on whatever that has transpired.
One more thing, Osama.
Yes, Captain Khalid, please.
There can be 100 investigations and 10 of them may not come to a conclusion. We may not be able to find. It does not mean it is a suicide. You can close a investigation without coming to a conclusion, and yet it can be closed very honorably. But this theory that this what is left now, or what is left if this is not there, this is not there, this is what is left now. You can hear this, all the American pseudo specialists saying this. Well, what is left now is that we haven't found it enough.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for speaking with NDTV.
Thank you.
Thank you.